Now this was the game I think all three of us were there if I remember correctly. So we got to see this in
Yep.
person. But I think in general just this was probably one of his most complete games, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and I think he had a couple of blocks. I feel like he had a good
Yep.
like defensive performance this game too if I remember. Um and it was definitely cool to see him up close and in person, but I think also you seeing him in person, you got to see a lot more of what really jumps out about him, um, and some of the areas that he could maybe work on. But I feel like this game there was a lot more to like than there was to kind of be concerned about compared to that Michigan game we just watched.
Yeah, this was I remember he had a few tough games before this. And like this is kind of like in the middle of the stint where like Dylan was like sick and hurt and missed a few games. So he had kind of been struggling at this point. I know it was like kind of like a rampant conversation going, like his draft stock was falling at the time, where like people were having debates that they don't have him in their top five. Like, so for us to see him in person, he just really impressed me this game. Like, it's just that how much better he had gotten from just the first time we see him against St. John's in their scrimmage to this point now. Like, to me, a lot of areas of his game had gotten tightened up from just the beginning of the season. So here we go. Starts pulls. Just another one late in the shot clock.
Yeah,
I mean, here gets a string, gets blocked, keeps with it, gets blocked again. Let's see here. So here's being guarded by Rolly Risser, smaller guard. He's able to get past him using the screen. Would like to see 24 maybe flare draw. I'd like to see a little bit more, maybe
it's like
get that way here.
they're rolling to the same spot.
Yeah, like also, like for what it's worth, like not to just put it on 24. Ace probably here. He could take an extended dribble out here to then attack going downhill. Also pacing. Just because you have the advantage of the screen, you could put this guy in jail. You could do a you could snake this even if you wanted to, like just more things to where you're not ending up in the same place as your roller. But here you got a late dig coming here. Never sees this guy in the corner for a kick out. Gets past all this traffic somehow, then meets Bryce Williams here at the rim, who gets a hand on it, keeps going, gets blocked by the weak side defender, never sees.
Kind of looked off Dylan Harper too on that second chance. He was up there at the top left, and he kind of just went up with this weak kind of like push shot over Jawan, but you got Dylan pretty much wide open on that left side.
Yeah, if you look at his eyes, I don't know if he even ever looks there, to be honest. Like, he just kind of tunnel vision here on trying to score.
He's looking at
Think
the rim, but I
Bart,
don't know if he can even see the rim either. Also,
yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a tunnel vision play. So it wasn't the best start to the game, but here we got Dylan. Follows him up here. And this more we're talking about, he's a really good rebounder. He's really active on the glass. Oh. So this is just more of athleticism. Juwan Gary here is a really good defender, but he gambles here. He catches it, one dribble, plant, and he's up and over to help here. For the and one, knocks on the free throw. Gets it in the corner. Euro steps, tough floater. So
That Euro
Phil,
to the top was really nice.
yeah, I like the Euro here. However, like I would like to see a pass somewhere when there's three people here. However, Rutgers spacing, like I don't know why number one is right here. I really don't know what advantage this gives them.
got
This is
three guys near the paint, and like this whole side completely open.
well, you have the smallest player on the court. Like the smallest guard is he starts the play. So one, he he starts here, he goes here, and then like just kind of caught in no man's land here. Like, don't really want my smallest player on the court in the dunker. You have the center 2 feet outside, they're restricted. He's in there restricted. Ace coming forwards, they're restricted. It's a lot of clogged up offense. Like, so he finishes with the floater there. Basically gets put back in. Here, catches it on the wing. 1 step inside to the 3-point line. Takes a fast dribble to the baseline. Pulls up. A little short. Gives the effort to go for the offensive rebound. Doesn't get it. Here, like, there's only 10 seconds left on the clock. I don't necessarily hate the shot. However, you wish somebody would be open with the fact that he's kind of getting double here. Like, the spacing on Rutgers is just kind of baffling at times. So, keep going. Catch it in transition. Stops, fires. That is privilege that a lot of people don't have to take this shot in transition. Closeout coming. I don't know if you ever really saw Hoiberg here, but knocks that down. Really elite shooter. I know we saw in the last game he was kind of struggling to make those shots, but I think it's the reason they kept running those plays for him. If you go back and watch other games, he knocks down shots. Even this one, he definitely goes on a run here in the second half at some point. So, real threat as a shooter. Here we got almost a carbon copy of the play that just happened. He gets a little further inside. This time draws a foul. Here, I see why he rejects this screen. However, this should probably be a skid. Like, I don't hate the shot. This Dylan Moe is pretty good catching shooters wide open. Probably need to make this skid. However, this guy's diving for some reason. I don't. But there's a lot of stuff in Rutgers' offense I just don't really get the point of.
I think we'll see later in the passing too. I feel like there were a few plays where he does kind of make that skid pass. Like the same play too, where he drives to the block, 2 people commit, and then he hits the open guy in the corner.
Yeah. And here it's like, so even though he doesn't make a skip, he just elevates so high on his jumper. Like, Juwan Gary is a really good athlete, jumps probably as high as he can here, and he's only able to get the hand. Doesn't lead the ball. Like, Ace can really elevate on his mid-range shots and can make them too, so it's definitely a hard player to guard. You can just get to a spot and rise up over most players. Here they run another action for him again. Makes the shot.
Coach, first half.
Yeah, in the first half, coach is screaming for a travel, but it's just elite level shot making. Catches it. 1-2 right once again. Rises over. He's able to shoot over a lot of players. I'm pretty sure this guy is taller than him. A good amount too. Burke. He start back from here. He knocks down his shot going into the half. Gives him the lead. Here he catches this one. Catch and shoot right away. Not a lot of time left on the shot clock. We have seen like consistent thing here. It's like the second or third time he's done this, where he just kind of hit the side of the rim. I think it's kind of a function of his release. He kind of snaps his hand inward sometimes when he's shooting from the corner. I think it leads to it hitting the side of the rim sometimes, but this would like to not see those happen. But so here we have a tough shot here. 20 seconds left from the shot clock. Goes snatch back between the legs, gets on the 3, shoots it over the extended arm. Burke been on the receiving end of some of these clips here, but I
don't know if you can attest that any better.
Yeah.
How about to say, I don't think you would really ask for a better contest than this.
That's just elite space.
So, like, shoots this one. Well, I don't like this one. He just, he makes space where there was none. Still, like, this is just like really good shot making. So that didn't even touch anybody that were in there. So here he gets Rolly on the post. Never sees Bryce coming over. Part of this is how he's catching it, right? So he's forcing him towards his baseline where he knows his help is coming from. This, I would give him a little more grace here if this was early in the game. However, Nebraska is known for trapping these, like when the ball gets to this corner. They kind of trap baseline a lot. You would like to see him kind of hold his ground here a little bit more and look over his left shoulder to see Dylan here. Easier said than done, but
even then, like,
just kind of.
yeah, I thought that. Never mind. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but he should have made that pass. Like, sure you have a guy in the paint here, but he's still like, I think where he is too, he still has the straight line to get Harper there. Like, he's not even dropped down enough to even really be in his vision, I feel like.
Yeah, and this is just like, I think he kind of just made his mind up here before he caught this ball. It's hard to know without, it's hard to know without asking him, but you see he gets it here and it's immediate rip towards the baseline because he's just recognizing. I like the fact that he recognized he had a smaller player and he went to the block to get the ball. Would like to also see him maybe catch it closer to the block here. Like, just, you got a guy like this, like, I would like to see maybe bury him just a little bit more to take away that opportunity, but gets here. I just think from the moment he seen Rolly on him, he was going to do this. Gets the foul. Did he get a foul on it?
Yeah, I think they called it on Bryce coming over.
It's a tough one, but at the next level, I would like to just see him find a way to get that pass to Dylan there. Here, he catches it in transition. Okay, so he misses this shot here, but this is something that makes him a really good catch and shoot shooter. He is, I want to say, before one even gets his ball, like, as soon as he sees that pass is going there, look at him get into a shot prep. He's ready to shoot right now. Catches it, goes straight up, gets him wide. He just misses this here, but that level of shot prep, that just being ready to shoot the ball, leads to a lot more shots going in than if you're like 99 here and standing straight up, even though I don't know if he was typically ready to get the ball. Here he gets an offensive rebound, goes back up, misses, gets another tip out. Just a lot of effort here on the offensive glass. This one up fade.
The good hesitation right there.
Yeah, this one is. See, look, you can tell, like, this is another sign that someone can really shoot the ball. Bryce Williams, he's not even really in a motion, ready to shoot yet, and Bryce is already like at his feet. Like,
well, we've already seen he's put on tape that he'll take those drifting catch and shoots off those inbounds. So I'm feeling like that's probably something they saw on tape and they're trying to commit to. But I feel like that's good that he's got that counter with the hesitation and then a little bit of a sidestep.
Yeah, I definitely prefer this to the fading corner going out of bounds 3-point catch and shoot off this play. So I think even here we can see like a little bit of the progression that he went through this year. Here he gets to Dylan. Dylan swings it to him, knocks this one down. They kind of figured out Nebraska was trapping this short corner here, and they just exploited this a few times down the stretch. I do want to point this out, though. We've seen a few times throughout this video, just with Dylan Harper being in the game. Like, Dylan wasn't by any means 100% in this game. Like, I'm pretty sure he missed sizable stretches in the middle of the game, sitting out because he was sick. You could tell he just wasn't quite himself, even though he does do a lot to close this game. Just him being out here, we've seen way more open catch and shoot looks for Ace. We've seen like just a lot less of him having to do the spectacular to create shots. I just think playing with a guard just makes his life a lot easier. Here for us to shoot in the corner.
That was a big steal at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's a great steal. Shows it's vertical off here. Gets full extension. Takes this. However, one of the things I think that's going to make Bailey valuable at the next level is he'll be like a grab and go guy. Like, even if he ends up having to play before, he's someone that eventually you want to trust to like bring the ball up and stuff. Like, after he gets rebounds, you cannot, knowing the situation, knowing your up points, time is running down. You get the rebound, you cannot sprint to the corner. Here. This had turnover written all over it. He ends up getting a foul here, but this is just this type of stuff that can like lose you games down the stretch, type of stuff that drives coaches crazy. I would like to see him just get the rebound and go up the middle of the court. And that's pretty much the end of his scoring take for this game. He didn't go off necessarily in this game, but he made a lot of timely shots that were important. Here's some of his passing stuff. He had a turnover there. This pass is another one I had marked down in my notes as what the fuck was going on here. Like,
I think he
24
thought Somerville was going to dive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, there's an open lane, but he just kind of stood still.
Yeah, this is on both of them because one, Somerville definitely has to dive here, but Ace kind of have to like look before you throw it.
Yeah.
But here he is double, retreats to the corner, and then makes a skip pass. Here he makes a bounce pass, gone in the lane. This is just the type of stuff you see him not really even attempt to do in the last game. So here he drives that corner. Last game, this is probably a pull-up right here. However, this game, he threads the needle here with this bounce pass. This is still like, this ends up in a made bucket, and there's a small here, so I don't mind it all the way. However, ideally, when Ewers commits, that should be a spray to the corner. But ends up in the made basket, nevertheless. This is here, and he does make the kick out this time. And that one was just kind of inaccurate. See, this one, he tries to make the pass off his live dribble with his right hand, and it sails. Like, this is just the type of stuff he's going to have to work on and just get better at making those type of passes. Here he finds the man at top of the key, fights for the offensive rebound. Like, for his worth, we've seen a lot in the last two games. He really fights on the glass, and this is the type of stuff that gives your team extra opportunities. Really good stuff on your role player, and if your star player does it, it's even better. So there, he just throws it off the guy's leg. I don't. Here he finds Dylan open for three. Doesn't knock it down. They get the offensive rebound.
Kind of an awkward catch for Dylan on that one before, though. Like, it kind of caught it above his head. It wasn't really in the shot pocket very much.
Yeah, so we can go back here.
The angle's a little tough because you had to throw it over Bryce, but I feel like that's a big reason why that shot didn't fall.
Yeah. Once again, like, just like to see it a little more accurate. Like, want to get that pass down a little bit, but it's still got there enough time. Probably going to be. See Dylan knock that down there. Dylan takes another one here. Hustle play, saves it. That was wild. Like, I'm impressed that the pass got out here, but
off one leg, just kind of hops through.
Yeah, that's something right there. He scrolls through that gap and got the pass there somehow. I just don't know how translatable that pass is. Like, I don't know if he'll get ready to do that at the next level. And then here. In the game. And then finally, we get into his defense in this game. His defense has been something that has been, like, criticized pretty heavily at this point in the season. I think this game, he made a genuine effort to, like, play just better defense in every facet than he had been playing up to this point. Here, he stays or walls up, keeps his hands straight up, gets a tip. Still a little jump happy. Goes with perfect there. That is definitely not his hard, but he rotates up here. When he's engaged, he's like actually has like pretty good instincts on defense. Here he makes the right rotation while the pass is in the air. Keeps high hands, makes that pass a little more difficult. Just good defense there. Here though, kind of not very engaged. At least kind of short walks that close out. Bryce was a little deep there, but in the NBA you might have to get out a little further. Here he slides his feet really well to keep up. But that one's not really on him.
One thing we're not really seeing too much of is him being involved in a ball screen. He's kind of really showing his stuff more as like an off-ball defender that can come in a passing lane or fill in on like just some help on a rotation. But I'm going to be interested to see if teams decide to specifically attack him early on and make him fight around a big screen or kind of make decisions going over or under.
Yeah, like how is he going to handle, especially in like bigger, more physical guards, like coming off that handoffs with a full head of steam? Like, will he be able to hold his line defensively? Will he be strong enough through his chest to stop somebody from just bumping off and being able to make the shot? On ball, at least, I think he does give a really good effort on ball. I think off ball, sometimes he can be a little space cadet. He can kind of lose focus. I think in this game, he was probably the most locked in I've seen him to this point in the season. Here, he tags the roller, gets back out to the shooter, gets a hand up, doesn't jump crazy on the closeout. Actually, a pretty solid closeout there. So, just improvement from him on this side of the ball. Gets the rebound there. Guards in the post, active hands poking at the ball. First is Burke to pick it up, pokes again, double dribble. Just overall, a much better effort on the defense in this game.
One thing I do want to get your guys' thoughts on is this game actually took place before the Michigan game we watched, I believe. So does that raise any concerns for you that later on in the season we're still seeing some of these mistakes or just things you would wish he would correct?
So they played Michigan twice. The first game was really rough. I think Michigan is in general like a hard team to play. Like they just play a difficult style to just, especially when you don't have your point guard. Like they have two bigs. They're really physical. And I think we've seen them make a run in the Big 12 or a Big 10 tournament. So they're like a really good team. I think they just kind of game plan for Ace really good, especially knowing he was going to be the only one of the two star-studded freshmen out there. I think his second game against Michigan kind of gave me a little bit more hope that, like, even though he kind of regressed a little bit from this game to that game, he, like, was able to fix it the second time he's seen that team. He still didn't have the greatest game, but it was a lot more efficient. Like, it was just a lot more put-together game. Brandon, your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I'd say my thing, too, with looking at prospects kind of throughout the season is that very rarely is it going to be kind of a linear, I guess, progression. So I feel like him just having the flashes, like to me, when I look at is non-conference and conference play. And to me, I feel like he had enough of the flashes in conference play. And I think that's where he had a lot of his best games, honestly, once they got into the Big Ten. And I think for me, him just having those flashes against the higher level competition, I think that just means more because I think even with players in the NBA, it's like once they're in the league, it's like it's not always a they go through their stretches. They have months where they're hot, months where they're cold. So I think him just at least getting out there, showing the flashes and having the high performances, I think that's what matters. Not necessarily the although it would be a plus if it kind of is sustained, but I think him just having those flashes out there it doesn't concern me too much.
So we get back here, and this was he tried to kick Jordan Gay here in the face. It's kind of a karate close out here. Here just I think he really thought he was gonna shoot it here. Had an opportunity to block it. Just gotta stay on your feet here. There he reaches out the ball, kind of loses sight of his man, closes out. Much better closeout than we've seen from before. Still not perfect. Like, let's get on the freeze over here. Still kind of goes for the up fake, but is able to stay low enough, doesn't all the way go for it. Doesn't kick him in the face like he just did the last play, but this one's a little better. Still kind of would like to see him stay down a little bit more. There, swords in for the block. At his size at 6'7", he really is like a solid returner on the rim. He's 3 blocks this game. His arms are really long and it just allows him to be disruptive around the rim. And for what it's worth, I think he knows how to play like low man pretty solidly. Like he has a decent feel of when to get over the help, and he's looking for blocks. Like he's opportunistic in that way, where he's searching out opportunities to get one. So definitely something you can use from your wing, extra rim protection. That is something to really complain about. Take your sleeve down. They're kind of a little late to get out, like right when he caught it. He probably should have already been running. Now he's starting to run as the pass is going. Just that closeout. Want see him stay on the ground there, but those are the type of things that like it's small, and I know I said it a lot. It's like it can seem a little nitpicky, but at the next level with more spacing and better athletes, closing out like how he just did on that on Rolly in the corner, how he did on Bryce earlier, where he was still able to recover after a closeout. You might not be able to do that if you're close out on somebody who's more athletic. And the more space there is, the more you kind of pay for those bad closeouts. And it could actually it could really be a problem, especially like certain defenses rotate more than others. So if he's put in that situation a bunch and he doesn't fix it, it could lead to him giving up a lot of straight line drives to the basket. But that is our breakdown on Ace Bailey. So we've seen some of the good and the bad at Ace Bailey. Where do you guys have him on your board?
Well, on my board, I have him as the 3rd player. We don't know if he's still going to end up going to the number 3rd on the Sixers, or to number 3 for the Sixers. But I think just looking at him, he does have his flaws, but I think the upside is there. And, I think there is a route where he could be. I don't know if. Oh, shit.
He didn't mess up because I stopped sharing my screen.
Oh, I thought I just froze for a second. Because I can just restart that. But I think for me, I have Ace Bailey as the 3rd player in this class. Obviously, he may not go there now, just with everything that's been happening, with him not going to the workouts and things like that. But I think there's still very clear upside with him. And I do think him being at Rutgers and then maybe not surrounding themselves with the best, supporting cast kind of hurt him in some sense. Because I do think a lot of that Him just Cameron mentioned it earlier, but him just having to take tough shots when he already doesn't maybe have the best shot selection is kind of entered his perception a little bit. But I think when he's surrounded by, I know he wants to be a star somewhere, but in a situation where he's surrounded by other NBA players, he has more room to operate. And I think maybe if he can expand, more of his off ball, cutting, catch and shoot, I think that really can take his game to another level. And just with the raw skill set that he has already, like I feel like that's a type of player you can't really pass up on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Jake, where do you have him on your board?
I think he's definitely still top 5, even after some of the weaknesses or things to improve on that we examined today. But I just feel like with Ace Bailey, maybe more than any of the other top 5 or 6 prospects in this draft, the player development staff and the coaching that he receives early on in his career, I think is going to be the most important factor of anything, regardless of where he goes. Because if he starts his career off like some of these other top players sometimes do, where they have 2 coaches in their first 3 years and there's not a lot of stability in the franchise, I think that's where you're going to see him become either just kind of a middling player or even a bust. But if he gets the proper coaching and maybe they work on tightening his handle a little bit or improving his vision a little bit for some of those skip passes, we could see with what his offensive upside already looks like and improving on some of the things like that handle, he could be potentially the second or even top player in this draft when we're looking back on it 5-10 years from now. So I definitely feel like he deserves that top 4 ranking on the big board. It's all just going to be determining if he goes to a team that will value his development and actually get it done.
Yeah, I still have him at 3 on mines. I think, like you said, where he goes, the development team is really going to play a big part. I think something to keep in mind for whoever does draft him is that it's probably not going to look great early. Like, there will be flashes. There will be, like, real signs like that dunk he had. Like, he'll make certain, like, eye-popping plays, but I think it'll probably be rough to start. And I just think he's someone who might take a while just because there's so much stuff to work on, like the passing, the ball handling. Like, there's stuff that needs to be tight. There's a lot of little areas that need to get fixed, but I think if he ever puts it all together and, like, he gets with either a vet that, like, has been in, like, a high-level scorer or just someone who knows how to break down how to score in the NBA, like, someone to tell him that those back cuts are, like, easy points, and if you do a certain amount of those each quarter, you're already a good part of where you want to be on your average. So, like, just, like, he's really destination dependent more than what I thought he was going into this year. Like, going into this year, I know me and Brandon had talked about this. Like, I had him, like, really, really high. Like, I think we all kind of have, like, a gap between, like, 2 and 3. Like, that's kind of, like, where most people have a separation in this draft. I thought he was somebody who could at least challenge for one going into the year. I'm not quite as high on him as I was coming in, but I still think he can be a star, just depending on the right situation. Like, a lot of things have to go right, but I think that's kind of the same with a lot of guys.